Ever feel like you're doing all the right things and still wondering why your body feels off? You eat well, you train hard, your labs say you're fine, but deep down you know something's slipping. You're not alone and you're not crazy. I'm Daniel Rasmussen, founder of Echelon Center for Longevity, and I've spent 2 decades helping high performers like you to reverse aging, reignite vitality, and finally get answers. On Unbreakable Vitality, we go upstream. We talk peptides, stem cells, precision diagnostic testing, reversing the age of your arteries, all the innovative science-based tools to take back your health span so that your next decades are your best yet. Because aging is real, but decline is optional. Welcome back to Unbreakable Vitality, the podcast that separates longevity hype from evidence-backed strategy. I'm your host, Daniel Rasmussen, and today we're diving into a next-gen peptide that's generating serious buzz in the metabolic and anti-obesity space, Retatrutide. You may have heard of GLP1s like Semaglutide and Tirzepatide, but Retatrutide takes it to another level, targeting 3 powerful hormone pathways that influence hunger, insulin, fat burning, and inflammation. Before we dive in, quick reminder, if you want to understand how peptides like this are used in real-life protocols with labs, tracking, cycling, and support, come join us at our next Ageless Future Longevity Summit in Seattle. Apply at agelessfutureseattle.com. So let's unpack this molecule. What is Retatrutide and how does it work? So Retatrutide is a once-weekly injectable peptide that activates 3 metabolic hormone receptors. GLP1, the glucagon, like peptide 1, which enhances insulin release, slows gastric emptying, and reduces appetite. Then you've got GIP, glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide. That's a mouthful. So let's try that again. Glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide, GIP, boosts insulin in response to food and may aid in fat metabolism. And then you've got the third, glucagon receptor. This one increases energy and expenditure and lipolysis, which is fat breakdown. And it may promote lean mass preservation, which is key. There's a problem with previous GLP-1s is muscle loss mass, the longer you're on them. So this triple action makes Retatrutide a multi-pathway metabolic modulator, not just an appetite suppressant like the other GLP-1s. In a 2023 clinical trial published in New England Journal of Medicine, Retatrutide produced up to 24% weight reduction in 48 weeks in non-diabetic obese patients. It outperformed all the current GLP-1s on the market. It also showed benefits in insulin resistance, visceral fat reduction, inflammatory marker improvement. The concentration of liver fat was reduced in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And the bottom line, this is not just another weight loss drug. It's a metabolic rewire tool, precision design. What are the clinical use cases and considerations at Ageless Future? Well, we don't prescribe Retatrutide lightly. It's a potent agent best used in metabolic broken or insulin resistant clients. Advanced visceral adiposity with inflammatory markers. Clients who have plateaued on Semaglutide and Tirzepatide, they can transition to it. As a metabolic reset before starting other age reversal therapies, we've seen 20 plus pounds of fat loss in 12 weeks, A1C reductions from pre-diabetic to optimal, normalization of triglycerides and HSCRP inflammation markers, patients reclaiming mental energy and mobility. But we always assess fasting insulin and C-peptide, VO2 max and metabolic flexibility, thyroid and cortisol patterns. Retatrutide is often paired with other peptides and stacked like MOTSC or 5-amino 1-MQ. This is to enhance mitochondrial fat burning. So peptides for tissue repair and muscle support, we might combine them with CJC Ipamorelin, which we spoke about a few weeks back. We could pair it with GHK copper for the collagen synthesis. And nutritional re-education and circadian syncing are also important. So what about retatrutide dosing, cycling, and monitoring for best practices? Well, it's titrated to minimize GI effects. So you start at about 0.5 milligram a week, and you increase slowly to 6 to 8 milligrams per week as tolerated. Injections are done once a week, subcutaneously. Length of time, often 3 to 6 months, followed by a taper and or a transition to other metabolic support peptides. Monitoring that we use in biomarkers is your fasting glucose and fasting insulin, A1C, triglycerides, inflammatory, and liver markers. And we also do baselines of muscle mass tracking via a STIQ body scan or DEXA or a bioimpedance. Now, for best practices, protein intake must be optimized. You've got to get good protein. You've got to be doing resistance training. It's non-negotiable. Mindful oversuppression of appetite. We view retatrutide not as a forever solution, but as a reset tool that creates the conditions for a total metabolic renewal and momentum going forward. What about the safety, the limitations, and things to avoid? Well, while retatrutide shows incredible promise, maybe as a longevity magic bullet, it's not without risks. Nausea, bloating, GI slowdown, those are common but manageable. You can have muscle loss risk if you're doing under protein or if you're sedentary. You can have hormone suppression if used too long without support. So never source this peptide online. It's not approved for general prescription use, and it should only be administered through a clinical trial or FDA-approved channels. At Ageless Future, we prepare the terrain before using something like retatrutide. We measure your labs, assess stress load, design your protocol to protect lean mass, and upgrade mitochondrial resilience, that is. So if you want to learn how we're preparing for retatrutide and how we already use mitochondrial metabolic stacks in our programs, apply now for the next Ageless Future Longevity Summit live here in Seattle, agelessfutureseattle.com. Next, in our peptide series, a conversation around other peptides for longevity, what's real, what's hype, and how we use them strategically. Until then, move smart and age stronger. If you're feeling like your energy, your edge, or your clarity just isn't what it used to be, you're not alone, but you're also not stuck. Every week on Unbreakable Vitality, we explore real strategies to reverse aging, reclaim vitality, and rewrite what's possible. If today's episode gave you even one insight, pass it on. Then go take the free vascular age quiz at echelon-longevity.com/quiz to see how your body's aging. Subscribe, leave a review, and follow us because your future isn't on autopilot. You are building it and you're just getting started.